You've probably heard out there that to manifest anything, all you need to do is vibrate high, right? Be happy, think positive, stay grateful. But let me tell you right now, straight up, that doesn't work, and I'm going to prove it to you. Because if it were true, why are so many people who meditate, affirm, and give thanks every day still stuck in the same reality? It seems like the more you try to force yourself to be okay, the further your ideal life slips away. You know why? Because this whole high vibe thing is a trap, a trick that only feeds guilt and frustration. The universe doesn't respond to what you fake. It responds to the real frequency you hold when no one's watching. And that's where almost everyone gets it wrong, because they fake positivity on the surface, but carry doubt and lack on the inside. And if you don't understand this, you're going to stay stuck in the same cycle. But Thoth revealed a banned secret about manifestation that breaks all of this down, and I'm going to show you exactly what it is. And it's not theory. I'm going to show you the full step-by-step so you can apply it and see it happen. But first, you need to see the invisible mistake that's been sabotaging your reality without you even noticing. Now answer me honestly. How many times have you tried to feel good on purpose, just to see if the universe will finally deliver that thing you want so badly? You know, that fake smile? That rehearsed gratitude? That inner peace you try to repeat to yourself even though everything inside is a mess? Yeah. Most people do that without realizing they're creating an even bigger trap for themselves. Because the problem isn't the emotion. Feeling good isn't the mistake. The mistake is faking emotions thinking the universe is going to be fooled. But the universe isn't dumb. It doesn't negotiate with your emotional facade. It's not impressed by your practiced smile in the mirror or the mantra you repeat 1,000 times without truly feeling it. Because the universe doesn't read the words you say. It reads the state you vibrate in silence, and your subconscious, now that, picks up everything. It knows exactly when you're trying to manipulate life with emotional tricks. And you know what it records when it senses that trick? That you still don't have what you want. That your joy is just a disguise, that your gratitude is just a cover, that your positive state is a poorly rehearsed play. And what the subconscious records becomes a vibrational command, and the universe simply responds. That's why you've probably felt that hidden frustration after doing a manifestation exercise. You do everything right, like they taught you: meditation, positive affirmation, visualization, high vibe feelings, and still, it feels like reality doesn't move an inch. You start to think maybe you're doing something wrong. Maybe you're not visualizing the right way. Maybe you're not feeling it intensely enough. But the truth is simpler and more brutal. It's no use putting perfume on an open wound. The wound is still there, radiating pain, no matter how much you try to mask it. In Hermeticism, this has a name. The ancients called it the pendulum effect. Every force you artificially apply to one side creates an equal and opposite pull to the other. This means that when you force a state of positivity that isn't genuine, the universe prepares a counterwave that pulls you back to the side you tried to ignore. Because you didn't build a new identity, you just swept the dust under the rug. And the subconscious knows. It knows because that's where your true frequency lives. You can't trick life with emotional makeup. You might fool others, maybe even convince your social media, maybe even your family that everything's fine. But the universe doesn't respond to your social media. It responds to what you vibrate when you're alone. No audience, no likes, no outside validation. And the weirdest part is that the more you try to force a feeling, the more your body reacts with resistance. Because the body is smart. It stores every memory, every trauma, every unresolved emotion, and it feels when you're trying to gloss over those memories with a fake smile. The body locks up, the mind doubts, the heart gets heavy, because no makeup holds up on a body that's screaming the truth. And here's the point no one told you. The universe doesn't respond to fake joy. It responds to vibrational coherence. You might not be happy right now, might not be at peace right now, and that's okay. The problem isn't what you feel, but what you do with what you feel. When you try to ignore your pain, it grows. When you try to hide your lack, it multiplies. When you try to smother your fear, it comes back stronger, because true frequency doesn't come from denial. It comes from integration. So when you pretend to be okay just to manifest, what your subconscious understands is, I'm still not what I want to be, and if you're still not it, the universe can't deliver, because the universe doesn't fill gaps created by lies. It responds to the presence of truth. And that brings us to the inevitable question. If it's not about forcing positivity, if it's not about manufacturing artificial emotions, then how do you create a vibrational state that actually manifests a new reality? The answer isn't in how you feel when everything's fine. The answer lies where almost no one looks. In the moment you fall apart. And it's exactly there, in that breakdown moment, where the invisible game of manifestation happens. But nobody told you that. Because while you're trying to stay strong on the surface, pretending everything's fine, your subconscious is just waiting for the moment your mask slips. And it always slips. That moment when exhaustion wins, when frustration speaks louder, when you sit on your bed, head down, and think, I can't take this anymore. That's where the deep recording happens. That's where your unconscious mind writes down the password of your frequency, not on the day you visualized your dream house, not during the guided meditation you followed for 20 minutes on YouTube. It's in that moment, alone, with no energy left to keep up the act, when you tell yourself what you truly believe about who you are. If you, in that moment of pain, think or feel that you'll never make it, that nothing works out for you, that everything's hard, then that's what your subconscious records as your vibrational command. Because at that point, you're no longer trying to lie to yourself. You let your guard down. You revealed what you truly believe you are. And the subconscious doesn't distinguish between what you want and what you feel is true. It simply records what you emotionally confirm when you have no energy left to pretend otherwise. It's like the universe stays silent, watching every role you play throughout the day, until night falls, the lights go out, and the character goes to sleep. And there, in the dark of your room and your soul, the universe asks, so, who are you really? And the answer you give in that silence is the decree the universe receives. Thoth knew this. That's why, in Egyptian myths, he's represented as the scribe of the gods, the one who writes down, who records, who doesn't let pass unnoticed what the heart declares in secret. Because in the judgment of the heart, described in the Book of the Dead, it's not what you showed the world that weighs on the scales. It's what stayed hidden, heavy, unresolved inside you. Thoth represents this cosmic principle that doesn't judge, it just records the heart's final word, the one you speak when you fall apart. And what does that mean? It means that every time you go through a moment of collapse, fear, failure, there's a password being recorded in your inner system. It's like your being says, okay, this is the ultimate truth about me. No matter how much I wish it were different, this is what I really believe, and the universe, which responds not to what you dream, but to what you believe, simply says, your will be done. That's why you need to pay attention to your most fragile moments, because it's in them that you reveal to the universe who you've decided to be. When you fail and define yourself as a failure, the universe doesn't see that as venting. It sees it as confirmation. When you lose something and believe you always lose, the universe doesn't interpret that as a lament. It takes it as a command. And here's the secret almost nobody knows. The moment of falling isn't just a point of pain, it's a point of vibrational decision. Who do you choose to be when everything goes wrong? What's the narrative you repeat when you're tired, when you're scared, when you feel like you've lost? Because that narrative is your vibrational password. It's what your subconscious records and what the universe obeys. But how do you turn these falling moments into creative power? There's a specific state of consciousness, and I'm going to reveal what it is. Most people believe true power lies in avoiding pain, in never falling again, in never feeling weak or vulnerable. But that's not it. The true creator isn't the one who never falls. It's the one who's learned how to touch the ground without forgetting who they are. This is called conscious authority, an internal state where, even in the worst moments, you don't give your power away to what you feel. Pause for a moment to think about that, because it seems simple, but it's revolutionary. Have you noticed that most people believe they are what they feel? When they're happy, they feel capable, worthy, confident. But when they're sad, defeated, or insecure, they automatically define themselves by those emotions. They sink into them as if there's no way out. As if sadness means failure and fear is proof they weren't born to win. But that's a mistake. One of the biggest mistakes a seeker can make. Conscious authority is the exact opposite of that. It's the state where you can feel sadness, fear, anger, and still remember that none of that defines you. You feel it, but you don't get confused with what you feel. You observe what's happening inside, but don't cling to it as a fixed identity. It's like walking through a storm, knowing the storm doesn't change who you are on the inside. The rain gets you wet, the wind shakes you, but you remain. Hermetic texts describe this state almost poetically. Thoth, in his teachings, said that the initiate is not the one who never falls, but the one who, upon touching the ground, immediately remembers their divine essence. Because what sets the master apart from the initiate is not the absence of challenges, but the awareness that stays lit even in the middle of chaos. Now imagine an ancient temple built on solid rock. No matter how many earthquakes shake the ground, the temple doesn't fall because it was built on a firm foundation. Conscious authority is that rock inside of you. While most people build their identity on the sand of fleeting emotions, the true creator builds their existence on unshakable knowing. I am not what I feel, I am what I decide to be, despite what I feel. And this isn't about controlling your feelings. It's not about becoming an emotionless stone. On the contrary, it's about feeling everything that needs to be felt without letting it dictate the rules of your destiny. You feel the sadness, but you don't become a sad person. You feel fear, but you don't turn into a fearful person. You observe, you welcome, you learn, but you continue to rule your inner kingdom, because it's exactly in discomfort that you have the chance to reaffirm who you are. Every pain, every fall, every frustration is a disguised invitation for you to ask yourself, who do I choose to be in the face of this? And every time you answer that question with firmness, even if it's in silence, even if it's with tears in your eyes, your subconscious record, this is who I am, and the universe responds. Now you realize you no longer need to run from pain. You don't need to fear the hard moments, because they don't have the power to destroy you. They only have the power to reveal who you are. And when you develop this conscious authority, you become the one who commands your own reality. The world may collapse around you, but you remain whole inside. But how do you hold on to that identity without slipping back into the old pattern? That's where a hidden teaching about true frequency comes in. And what maybe nobody told you is that this conscious authority you're starting to awaken doesn't come just from willpower or emotional control. It comes from a much deeper place, from what you choose to represent on the stage of your own life. Because at the end of the day, the universe doesn't respond to how you feel in a specific moment, but to the role you've chosen to play continuously in front of existence. And here's the shift that changes everything. Frequency is not a feeling. It doesn't matter if you get emotional, feel hopeful, get goosebumps for a few minutes, if, for the rest of the day, you go back to the same role you've always played. Frequency is the character you've decided to live as, consciously or not, every second of your daily life. It's the internal place you act from, decide from, stand from, face the world from. It's your stance in life, not your passing emotion. Imagine you're in a grand cosmic theater. The set changes, the situations change, the other characters come and go. But the lead role is always the same: you. The big question is, what role are you choosing to play in this show? Are you the one who suffers, the one who always loses, the unlucky one, the rejected one, the victim of injustice? Or have you decided to live the role of someone who has already made it, who already is, who's already conquered, even if the set hasn't changed yet? See the difference. One thing is saying you want prosperity. Another is acting, thinking, and deciding like someone who is already prosperous. One thing is wanting to be loved. Another is behaving like someone who is already worthy of love, without begging for affection or approval. The universe doesn't move based on what you ask for, but based on what you already live internally, because it reads your vibrational field like a script, and it only gives you back the scene that matches the role you're playing. That's why so many people try to change their life and fail, because they want a new scene, but keep playing the same character. It's like wanting to be the main character in a success story while insisting on wearing the costume of a victim. The universe doesn't create what you wish for. It creates what you represent yourself to be. And represent here doesn't mean pretend. It means fully inhabiting that version of yourself, like putting on clothes that already belong to you. Thoth, in the Hermetic teachings, said that the universe echoes what you represent as your role in the cosmic play. That means every thought, every attitude, every decision of yours is constantly reaffirming to the universe what role you've chosen to live. And the universe, obedient and impersonal, simply responds, "So be it." And here's the detail that changes everything. It's not enough to feel confident. You need to act like someone who is confident. It's not enough to feel prosperous during a mental exercise. You need to move through the world like someone who already overflows with that prosperity in your choices. Because the feeling comes and goes. But the role you choose to live keeps vibrating, even when the emotion fades. And that's what shapes your true frequency. Not what you feel once in a while, but the character you've played for so long that the universe already understands. This is you. And it shapes your reality to match that choice. And it's in that moment, when you start to embody the role of your new identity, that an invisible gear starts turning. But almost no one notices this, because the plane where everything really gets organized is not what you see with your eyes. The truth is, the life you live here, in the physical world, is only the delayed reflection of something much bigger that's already happening in another layer of existence. A layer few are aware of, but that governs everything, the mental plane and the etheric plane. Think with me. Every building exists first as a blueprint. No construction goes up without first existing in the mind of the architect. Before the wall, before the cement, before any brick, there was a detailed idea. The same thing happens with your life. It doesn't start in the physical. It doesn't come from what you can touch or measure. Your reality begins in the invisible. It begins in the vibrational field you sustain, consciously or unconsciously, all the time. It's like the life you see is a hologram, a projection generated by a frequency you feed inside of you. The physical world is only the final stage of a process that started long before, in a plane where forms don't exist yet, but all possibilities are alive. And if you don't learn to operate in that plane, you end up trying to fix the hologram instead of adjusting the projector. How many times have you tried to change your reality by acting only on the visible? Changing jobs, moving cities, ending a relationship, starting a new one, buying a self-help book, taking a motivational course, changing your wardrobe. And for a while, it even feels like something different is happening. But soon you find yourself back in the same spot as always. Because what wasn't built in the invisible can't be sustained in the visible. Thoth taught this thousands of years ago. The true temple is not made of stone. It's not in grand buildings, monuments, or cathedrals. The true temple is the mind. It's where the invisible is designed, sculpted, defined. The initiate knows that before any external action, they must build their inner temple. Because it's from that temple that the vibrational command the universe will follow is born. And that temple is not a place to visit from time to time when you're meditating or reading something inspiring. It's a permanent state of consciousness that you carry in every decision, every word, every choice. All the time you're drawing the next scene of your life in that invisible plane, even without realizing it. And here's the detail few people know. You're creating in that plane whether you mean to or not, even without being aware of it. If you feed fear, lack, anger, or guilt, that's also being projected there. And sooner or later, the physical world is going to reflect that content. The real question isn't whether you're creating or not. The question is, what are you creating without realizing it? And when you understand this, you see that there's no use fighting what's already been projected. You have to access the point of origin. It's like trying to erase a shadow by hitting it. The shadow only disappears when you change the light source. And your physical world is that shadow. The true light is in this invisible plane that governs everything. And it's exactly in this invisible plane that the universe reveals its oldest code, what the masters call divine math. A code that has crossed millennia, hidden inside a name many have heard of, but few truly understood. The name is YHWH, the sacred tetragram that symbolizes the name of the Creator in the Hebrew tradition. But this isn't just a name, it's a map. An exact script that describes the complete process of creating any reality. Each of those 4 letters wasn't placed there by accident. Each one is an essential step, a gear that, if missing, stops the creation from coming to life. And when you understand this, you realize that manifesting isn't about luck, blind faith, or positive thinking. It's a precise flow, almost mathematical, that anyone can apply if they know the way. It all starts with the yod. Yod is the point of consciousness. It's the moment when something simply exists in potential. It has no form, no image, no feeling yet. It's pure awareness, like a microscopic seed that holds the blueprint of an entire tree, even if to the eyes it looks like nothing. The yod is the spark, the first vibration that shows up in your being when you realize you want to create something. It's when you become aware that you want something different. But awareness alone creates nothing. It only perceives. Then comes the he, the clear visualization. This is where you give form to what was just a blurry intention. You imagine. You mentally see what you want. If in the yod you had the spark of desire, in the he you turn that spark into an image. You begin to sketch in the mental plane what you want to see in the physical world. This is where many stop. They might have the desire, they might even visualize it, but they don't move on to the next step. The third point is the vav, the feeling of belonging. It's when what you visualized is no longer just a pretty idea in your head, but a reality your body feels is true. It's when you emotionally and energetically connect to what you created in the invisible. The vav is the bridge between the mental and the vibrational world. Without it, What you imagine stays a fantasy, a mirage that never materializes because it didn't have enough energy to cross the portal into the physical. And finally, the last he, the concrete manifestation, the coherent action in the physical, the moment when you act in alignment with what already exists inside you. It's no use being aware, visualizing, and feeling if, in practice, you keep acting like someone who doesn't have, who isn't, who doesn't belong. The last, he is the gesture, the decision, the step you take in the world to show that you're already part of that reality. Each of these stages is essential. Skipping one is like trying to build a house without a foundation or without walls. It'll collapse. That's why the name YHWH isn't some inaccessible mystery. It's an invitation for you to understand that creating isn't a magical event. It's a logical, precise, and accessible process for anyone willing to follow each step. Thoth taught something similar in ancient Egypt through what they called the Table of Ptah. Ptah was the creator god, and his table also had 4 phases: idea, form, energy, and manifestation. The Egyptians knew that creating a world wasn't any different from sculpting a statue. First you conceive, then you draw, then you bring energy, and finally you mold it in matter. Now that you know the process, what's left is the practice that will anchor this in your real life. And I'm going to show you that now. But here's a detail most people never told you, and because they don't know it, they keep tripping up at the same point. Even when you follow each step of the code, when you visualize, feel, vibrate, and act in total alignment, there's an invisible territory between who you've already chosen to be on the inside and the moment the outer world finally begins to reflect that identity. This territory is not optional. It can't be skipped, avoided, or shortened with mental tricks or mystical rituals. It simply exists because it's part of the structure of reality, and it's in that space where most people give up. This space is the inevitable gap between the internal decree and the external materialization. It's the universe's testing ground. It's what separates the authentic creator from the impatient dreamer, because during this in-between time, which might last days, weeks, or months, the world still seems the same. The bills still come in. The relationships are still tough. The limitations keep showing up as if nothing has changed. And that's the risk. Looking at all of that and starting to doubt. Questioning whether any of this really works. Beginning to negotiate with yourself. Shrinking the dream. Lowering the frequency. Adapting to what the world is still showing instead of holding firm to what's already been declared in the invisible. You think you're vibrating prosperity, but your bank account teases you, confronts you, mocks you. You've decided you're worthy of love, but the messages don't come. The hug you hope for doesn't arrive, and the silence feels heavy. This is where most people fail, because they want the external confirmation first, to then believe internally. They want the universe to bring the sign, the result, the applause, and only then will they feel they're worthy. But the universe doesn't work like that. The universe responds to what you already are, not what you hope to become. That's why it tests you, not as punishment, but as a filter of vibrational consistency. It wants to know, do you hold the frequency you declared, even when nothing confirms it? Do you maintain the chosen identity, even when everything around you contradicts it? Because if you waver, if you hesitate, if you negotiate, the universe understands that your decision wasn't firm yet, and the creation stays on hold. Thoth taught this with wisdom. The temple is built in the invisible before the stone touches the ground. What does that mean? It means your new self needs to be built, solid, firm inside of you, even if the physical world hasn't set the matching scene yet. It's your being that builds the scene, not the other way around. And that's the point where many give up. Someone says, "I'm prosperous," but at the first unexpected bill, they go back to thinking like someone who lives in lack. Someone declares, "I'm healthy," but at the first pain, they go back to acting like a sick person. That back and forth creates an unstable frequency, a confused vibration. The universe, which responds to coherence, picks up on that wobble and backs off, because there's no solid vibrational decision. The true creator doesn't negotiate who they chose to be. Even when everything collapses, they don't back down. Not out of pride or blind stubbornness, but from an inner certainty that doesn't depend on external proof, because they've understood one of the greatest secrets. The physical world is always the last to know. First you vibrate, then you see. Manifestation isn't a reward for good behavior. It's the inevitable reflection of a consolidated frequency. It's like planting a seed. You place it in the soil, water it, care for it, and for days, what do you see? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The soil looks the same. But underneath, in the invisible, the roots are forming. The sprout is beginning. And those who give up at that point never see the first green sign emerge. Because growth happens in the invisible before it breaks the surface. Nature is the perfect mirror of the manifestation process. So if your current reality still doesn't show what you've declared, it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means the universe is watching, feeling, analyzing whether your frequency is truly locked in or if it was just temporary excitement. It's in the silence of the gap that your vibration proves itself, and when it truly locks in, the universe can't ignore it. It has to materialize the match, because that's the law. Everything that is coherent in the invisible becomes inevitable in the visible. But there's a secret to speeding up this process, a silent code that few people know. And it's hidden precisely in what you do with your everyday actions. And this is the point where most people trip up without even realizing it. Even after doing all the internal work, holding the mental image, silently affirming who they've decided to be, their external behavior still reveals who they truly believe they are. The body still moves with the same habits as before. The decisions are still small, timid, like someone who's still testing themselves instead of standing firm. The words come out weak, full of uncertainty, and the actions keep repeating the same old script. And the universe, which doesn't read your intentions or lofty dreams, but the coherence between what you vibrate and what you actually do, picks up what's really going on. Your frequency hasn't changed yet. Because no matter how differently you think, if your actions don't follow this new thinking, the universe records the old command. This happens because the universe doesn't respond to your pretty ideas or highest dreams. It responds to what you confirm in the world through your choices, your gestures, the way you take up space in reality. Frequency isn't something airy that floats in your mind while your body stays disconnected. Frequency is body, it's action, it's practice. That's why every authentic manifestation requires concrete movement. There's no point in creating a vibrational palace in your mind and walking through the world like a spiritual beggar. The universe reads your behavior, not your secret intentions. You want prosperity? Then watch how you make decisions in your everyday life. Because someone who is prosperous doesn't make choices based on the fear of running out. They don't treat money like a survivor, hoarding every penny out of fear of losing. The prosperous person makes decisions with trust in the flow, knowing that what they invest comes back, that what they share returns multiplied. It's not about spending carelessly or being irresponsible, but about stepping out of the scarcity mindset and into the abundance mindset, the one that says, "I trust there's more than enough for me." Want true love? Then stop acting like someone who's waiting for an emotional savior. Start with how you treat yourself. take care of yourself like someone who already feels loved. Because those who love themselves, respect themselves, protect their energy, honor their space. They don't give themselves away for crumbs or beg for affection. The universe reads that as the vibrational field of someone already overflowing with love, and those who overflow naturally attract relationships that mirror that state. Want respect? Then observe your language. Speak like someone who deserves to be heard. Walk like someone who knows their worth. Look people in the eye, steady your tone, set boundaries without fearing you'll upset someone. Because the respect you get from the outside matches the respect you give yourself on the inside. And the universe is always watching. Every gesture is a silent decree telling it who you really believe you are. That's the key most people ignore. Frequency isn't a state you access during a 30-minute meditation and forget for the rest of the day. Frequency is the character you embody 24 hours a day. It's the role you play when no one's watching. It's how you get out of bed, how you speak to the bus driver, how you react to a problem at work, how you treat your body, how you deal with mistakes and wins. Every little behavior either strengthens or weakens the frequency you're trying to lock in. Thoth made this clear in the Hermetic texts. The word made flesh is action. A word without a gesture is a seed without soil. You can think the grandest thoughts, feel the highest emotions, but if you don't translate it into practice, if you don't plant it in the real world, there's no fertile ground for the vibrational seed to bloom. The universe needs physical evidence to convert energy into matter. It needs a body in motion, a hand building, a decision being made. So, if you want to speed up the process, it's not enough to just feel or visualize. Start now. Act, speak. Decide like someone who's already living what they want to manifest. Because the universe doesn't give you what you hope for, it gives you what you show you're ready to sustain. And your readiness is measured by your daily choices. But even so, there's an invisible enemy that can sabotage all of this. A silent obstacle that lives inside you and, if not defeated, turns this whole journey into an endless cycle of trying and getting frustrated. This invisible enemy, so common and yet so underestimated, carries a simple name but has devastating power: doubt. It's the most efficient and sneaky saboteur on the path of manifestation. And the worst part? It doesn't show up as an enemy declaring war. No. Doubt sneaks in quietly, pretending to protect you. It wears the mask of caution, disguises itself as common sense, hides behind realism. And that's why most don't see the damage it causes, because it doesn't scream in your head. It whispers. It slides in with barely noticeable thoughts that you repeat without realizing. After you've visualized clearly, felt deeply, acted with conviction, doubt comes in with that seemingly innocent question. Is this really going to work? Am I fooling myself? Am I wasting my time? And in that instant, the command you sent to the universe, strong and focused, starts to wobble. Your frequency that was once clear and aligned begins to fracture and weaken. Because doubt isn't just a passing thought. It's not just a common moment of insecurity. Doubt is a frequency. And frequency is a language the universe understands perfectly. When you emit a vibration, the universe picks up the signal. Now imagine you're transmitting a strong signal of confidence, and then doubt slips in. What happens? Your vibrational field no longer holds the same tone. It's like tuning into a radio station that plays your manifestation song, but every time you doubt, you turn the dial slightly, creating static, distortion, interference. And the universe, trying to pick up your signal, hears a scrambled mess. The universe doesn't deliver what it doesn't understand. And what does it hear in doubt? That you're unsure of what you want. Result: the flow stops. And it doesn't take much doubt for this to happen. A single spark is enough to begin vibrational collapse. You can want something with all your heart, visualize every detail, act boldly. But if deep down there's a sliver of distrust, a tiny hesitation, that crack in your vibrational field starts to grow. The universe doesn't respond to your conscious desire. It responds to your full field. And if that field is contaminated by doubt, the command doesn't come through intact. The ancient Hermetists understood this and made it clear in their writings. A doubtful word creates a weak echo in the universe. Because to the universe, doubt sounds like an unsure request, and an unsure request doesn't activate the gears of creation. Creating demands absolute clarity. It demands certainty that doesn't rely on external proof. It demands the conviction of someone who's already seen what they want, even if the world hasn't shown a single sign. And this is where so many give up, because they confuse doubt with wisdom. They think questioning is being smart, when in reality, it's just the same old sabotage pattern in disguise. Doubt is the brake you hit even when your foot's on the gas. Imagine a powerful car, engine roaring, wheels spinning, but the brakes press down. The car vibrates, the engine heats up, you feel something trying to move forward, but it goes nowhere. That's exactly what happens to your reality when doubt is present. You vibrate, desire, feel, but you don't move. So if you feel like you've done everything and still nothing has manifested, I invite you to be radically honest with yourself. Look inside and ask, where does doubt still live in me? Where do I still not fully believe? Is there some part of me that still feels unworthy of receiving what I asked for? Do I still fear that maybe all of this is just an illusion? Because it's exactly in those places that your frequency weakens. And that's why you need to learn how to eliminate doubt once and for all. There's a specific mental formula for that. And I'm going to teach you now. The formula for eliminating doubt for good and finally shielding your vibrational field isn't about repeating empty affirmations or forcing yourself to believe. Real shielding happens when you build a solid, unshakable alignment between all parts of your being. Because doubt, no matter how sneaky, only finds space when one of those parts is out of sync, vibrating out of tune with the rest. It's like a system of gears. If one piece isn't properly aligned, the whole mechanism grinds, fails, jams, and the universe, which responds to the totality of your being, picks up on that flaw exactly. Imagine a giant string instrument. Even if all the strings are in tune, if one is off, the sound isn't clean. The melody becomes unpleasant, incomplete, out of harmony. That's how your vibrational field works too. To create a strong, consistent reality, you need a pure, clear, unified frequency. That only happens when your mind, emotions, body, and actions are all playing the same internal song. The first pillar of that alignment is the mind. It's the conductor of your inner orchestra, and the conductor must have total clarity on the song they want to lead. That means having absolute certainty about who you want to be. And notice, it's not about what you want to have, because having is the result of being. Who you choose to be determines what you attract. The mind needs to visualize that so clearly that even with your eyes closed, you can feel that version of you. Any uncertainty or fogginess in the mind creates a scrambled signal to the universe, like a conductor who doesn't know which song to lead. Result: the symphony of your life comes out crooked, broken, directionless. The second pillar is emotion. Feeling is the fuel of the mind. You can have the clearest mental image, but if your feeling doesn't match that image, the universe doesn't feel your vibration as legit. For example, you visualize prosperity, you see yourself abundant, but deep down, hidden inside, your feeling is still fear, lack, insecurity. That breaks the signal. Your emotion needs to match what the mind projected. because emotion is the energy that brings the image to life. Without it, your visualization is just a pretty picture, but no color, no glow, no soul. The universe responds to emotion because that's what energizes the command. The third pillar is the body. This is where a lot of people get lost because they ignore that the body also vibrates. The body also speaks. Your posture, how you walk, how you take up space, all of that is a signal you send to the world. Ever notice someone who says they're confident, but they slouch, speak softly, avoid eye contact? The body is contradicting the mind. And the universe doesn't hear what you say. It hears what your body silently declares. That's why aligning the body is essential. Move like someone who already is. Speak, sit, gesture like someone who knows their place in the world. The body is the physical support of vibration. It's your living altar, your temple of manifestation. And the fourth pillar is action. Because it's no use thinking, feeling, and carrying yourself like someone prosperous if, when it's time to make a real decision, you act like someone who's still afraid to lose, still self-sabotaging out of fear of failure. Action is the final proof the universe requires. It's what turns everything created in the invisible into something tangible, visible, and concrete. Every decision you make in your daily life either confirms or weakens your frequency. Action is what seals the vibrational command. It's the energetic signature that says, "I'm ready." Thoth knew this and taught it clearly. The whole being manifests because they vibrate as a whole with no parts in conflict. When the mind thinks, the feeling agrees, the body confirms, and the action reinforces, the universe has no choice. It simply responds, because everything in you is emitting the same frequency, like a perfect symphony. No noise, no doubt, no interference. And now that you understand the importance of full alignment, you're ready for something even bigger, because there's one last secret. What to do when the universe finally starts to respond. And this is the moment where many get lost, right when the universe finally begins to respond. When your internal alignment locks in, life doesn't ignore that vibration. The universe does respond, but not like a delivery man showing up at your door with a perfectly wrapped package. It doesn't work like that. The universe delivers in waves, fragments, hints that show up so subtly they're easy to miss for anyone who hasn't learned how to truly pay attention. They're small echoes of what you created in the invisible. They don't come as a finished castle, but as the first bricks, the first tools, the first invitations for you to actively participate in the construction. And this is exactly where the silent danger lies. Because people who aren't paying attention look at those early signs and think, "That's it? I ask for prosperity and all I get is a vague idea or a small invitation? I asked for true love and all I found was someone who treats me well but doesn't match my ideal. I asked for a big opportunity and someone offers me a small project that doesn't even seem relevant." And it's in this thought of impatience, of dismissal, that the portal closes. Because the universe won't hand you the final destination without first confirming whether you're capable of sustaining the frequency needed to get there. It tests you with the small to see if you're ready for the big. Imagine the universe as a master craftsman. Before giving you the full project, it hands you raw material and watches what you do with it. If you dismiss it, thinking it's not enough or not worth your effort, it understands, not ready yet. But if you take that material, shape it, appreciate it, transform it, the universe sees. This person knows what to do with what they're given, and then it gives you more and more and more, because you've proven you're a clear channel, a vessel ready to hold what you've been asking for. Thoth understood this deeply, and that's why he taught, "Those who dismiss the first step will never see the last." Reality is a cosmic staircase. And every step that appears before you isn't there to frustrate you. It's an invitation. An invitation to confirm that your vibration is still steady, that it wasn't just momentary excitement or anxious expectation. The first step doesn't look like the top, but it's the only path to get there. Rejecting the small is rejecting the whole process. This applies to absolutely everything you desire. Prosperity, love, opportunities, spiritual growth. Everything first shows up in the form of hidden codes. Little coincidences, unexpected meetings, sudden ideas, realizations that weren't clear before. They're like whispers from the universe saying, "I hear you, but I need to know if you're really hearing me too." So when any sign appears, no matter how small, adopt the mindset of someone who knows what they're receiving. Honor every spark, every seed, every possibility, because the universe reads your reaction. If you celebrate the small, you expand your field for the big. If you dismiss it, you shrink your frequency and block the flow. It's a vibrational cycle. Value what shows up. The universe amplifies. Acknowledge the flow. The universe intensifies it. Be thankful for the detail. The universe delivers the full picture. This isn't surface-level gratitude. It's not performance. It's the real vibration of someone who understands the flow has already started, and now it's just a matter of continuity. Now, yes, after all this, it's time for the final step, the defining move to take conscious control of your reality. The final step isn't about sitting and waiting for the universe to do everything for you, like a prize falling from the sky. It's not about continuing to ask as if the universe is a clerk that needs to be convinced by your desires or your daily prayers. The final step is a decree, a silent but powerful decree that you set within yourself as a non-negotiable law. It's when you understand once and for all that the universe doesn't respond to your requests or your dreams or the things you write on paper or say to the mirror. The universe responds only to what you already are at the deepest level of your being. This isn't philosophy. This is a vibrational law that governs all manifestations. The ancient masters knew this, and that's why they never spoke of asking. They always spoke of being. And here's what flips the game for good. If the universe responds to what you are, then every act of asking already carries a hidden confession, the confession that you don't have it, that you're not it yet. And as long as you reinforce that, your vibration screams to the universe, "I'm still the one who doesn't have. I'm still the one who waits, who wants, but not the one who already is." The universe doesn't work with promises. It responds to frequencies. That's why asking no longer makes sense. Waiting no longer makes sense. What makes sense, and what actually creates reality, is declaring. But that declaration isn't just spoken words. It's a posture. It's a solid emotion. It's a body vibrating conviction and actions that prove that identity every day, in every choice, every decision, every response to the world. Declaring is full integration, mind, emotion, body, and action aligned as one vibrant being. Because while you're still just asking, your energy field still vibrates lack. While you're just waiting, your frequency is still one of absence. Thoth called this the creative word, and it wasn't just a pretty metaphor or a philosophical symbol. It was a deep mechanism of vibrational engineering. When the word becomes flesh, it means what you think, what you feel, and what you do become one unbreakable unit. There's no more internal noise, no more room for conflict between what you want and what you live. And when that alignment happens, reality bends. It has no choice, because everything in the universe seeks coherence. If you vibrate coherence, the universe can only reflect coherence back to you. That's why from now on, your mantra has to be one thing: I am the frequency of what I desire. And it's not enough to repeat it like some nice-sounding phrase. You have to live it. You have to act like someone who already is. You have to look at yourself and feel like you're no longer trying to manifest. You're already living it, even if the physical reality is still catching up. Because being is the absolute power of the Creator. One who is doesn't wait. One who is simply lives, confirms, and sustains. Thoth wrote this down in ancient fragments. The Word made flesh creates worlds. You are the word of your world. That means the most powerful word that exists isn't the one you speak to others. It's the one you declare to yourself in every silence, every decision, every moment when the universe is watching to find out who you truly are. What you live in your soul echoes in the invisible and becomes what you experience in the visible. So now I ask you, who do you choose to be from this moment on? It's no longer about what you want to have. It's about who you finally decided to be. And if you really made it all the way here with me, I want you to write in the comments, I am the creative word, because that's your decree. That's your mark on the universe. From the moment you declare that with conviction, your world starts to transform, not because the universe decided to reward you, but because it has no other choice in the face of your frequency. And before you go, pay attention. I've set aside a special video to dive deeper into everything we talked about here and show you how to apply this in your life in a practical, daily, consistent way. Click now on the screen and let's keep going together on this journey. The next step is already waiting for you. And if you made it this far, drop a comment below. I am the frequency of what I desire. I want to see who's really committed to stepping out of the cycle and taking hold of their creative power. Oh, and if you'd like to support the channel directly and help spread this message to more people who need to wake up, there's a special link in the top pinned comment where you can contribute. Every bit of help is welcome and keeps this movement growing even more. And don't leave yet, because I've got a special video picked out for you to dive even deeper into this knowledge and put it into practice in your life. Click the video that's showing on your screen now, and I'll meet you there. There's so much more waiting for you.